So, last time we looked into business ethics. Today, we will now explore possibly the most urgent ethical challenge of our time: environmental ethics. Environmental ethics asks, do we have a moral duty to protect the planet? Do animals and ecosystems have rights? What responsibilities do we owe to future generations? And should we prioritize human needs over nature? These are not just philosophical questions. They are questions of survival. So, what is environmental ethics? Environmental ethics is the branch of applied ethics that examines moral issues related to the natural world. It asks, do non-human animals have moral status? Do ecosystems have intrinsic value? Are we responsible for protecting the environment? What is our duty to future generations? The goal is to rethink our relationship with nature, not as a resource to be exploited, but as a community of life to be respected. Some key ethical principles in environmental ethics include sustainability, where we must use resources responsibly so that the future generations can thrive. An example of this being reducing carbon emissions to avoid climate collapse. Analyzing this through our schools of thought, utilitarianism claims sustainable practices maximize long-term happiness. Deontology states we have a duty to preserve the planet. And virtue ethics says a responsible person acts with foresight and care. Respect for nature. Nature has intrinsic value, not just instrumental value, i.e., usefulness to humans. An example being protecting endangered species even if they don't benefit humans. Deontology says we have a duty to respect all life. Utilitarianism says biodiversity increases overall well-being, while virtue ethics claims that a respectful person honors the natural world. Interdependence. Humans are a part of nature, not separate from it. An example being, pollution affects human health, wildlife, and ecosystems. In conclusion, we must act with humility and care. Now let's look at a case study: climate change and human responsibility. Let's apply these principles to a real-world dilemma. The scenario being, a fossil fuel company is profitable, but its emissions contribute to climate change, causing extreme weather, sea level rise, and species extinction. Should the company continue producing fossil fuels, transition to renewable energy, or be held legally accountable? If we look at the sustainability, climate change threatens future generations. In conclusion, the company has a duty to act sustainably. Respect for nature claims that climate change destroys ecosystems and kills animals. In conclusion, the company must respect nature's value. If we look at interdependence, humans are, of course, a part of the natural world, and thus, we must act with humility. The conflict here being, profit says keep producing oil. Sustainability says protect the planet. And respect for nature says protect all life. The resolution being, the company should transition to clean energy. It should compensate for environmental damage, and it should be transparent about its impact. Let's look at another case study: animal rights in factory farming. The scenario being a factory farm produces meat cheaply, but animals are kept in cruel conditions. Is this ethical? Sustainability says factory farming contributes to climate change and pollutes water. In conclusion, it is unsustainable. If we look at interdependence, human health is linked to animal welfare. And in conclusion, we must act with care. If we look at the conflict, profit says, keep producing meat. Respect for nature says, protect animals. While sustainability says, reduce harm. The resolution here being the company should improve animal welfare. It should also reduce meat production, and it should promote plant-based alternatives. Let's look at a final case study: consumerism and waste. The scenario being, a consumer buys a smartphone every year even though the old one still works. Is this ethical? Looking at this through sustainability, e-waste pollutes the environment, and in conclusion, the consumer has a duty to reduce waste. Respect for nature shows that mining for rare metals destroys ecosystems. In conclusion, we must respect nature's limits. Interdependence shows that our choices affect other people and the planet, and thus, we must act with responsibility. Looking at the conflict, convenience says, buy the latest phone. Sustainability says, reduce waste. And respect for nature says, protect ecosystems. The resolution here would be that the consumer should keep devices for a longer period of time. They should recycle electronics, and they should support sustainable brands. Now, why this matters in the real world? Well, environmental ethics is not just about philosophy. It's about survival. Climate change threatens food. Climate change threatens food security, health, and peace. Biodiversity loss undermines ecosystem stability. And pollution harms human and animal health. By studying environmental ethics, we become better thinkers, better citizens, and of course, better human beings.